What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so I want to focus again on this situation with former NFL quarterback turned Fox News contributor Mark Sanchez. All right, so it was a couple of days ago I reported on my platform that he was involved in an incident that resulted in a 70-year-old man stabbing him in self-defense. And it's interesting that without knowing any of the specifics, it's so interesting how so many people just jumped to Mark Sanchez's defense, somehow believing he was a victim without knowing any real details, right? They didn't know what happened. You had people showing their hood left and right, like Dan Dakich here. Sanchez or anyone being stabbed in downtown Indy should not be a surprise. We have a ton of fatherless and armed African-American kids descending on downtown Indy every weekend. If that offends you, F off, as the Chief of Police Bailey and Reverend Harrison have told you this. And this is why Dan Dakich is no longer in the mainstream sports media realm. Because, we know what he's really about. By the way, he and many others had to retract or delete some of the well-wishing comments and put downs on African Americans that were coming out there because people just assumed that Mark Sanchez was a victim, when it's now come out that he was the aggressor. He was the aggressor. He was at fault. Okay? So much so that the charges against him have been upgraded. The charges against Mark Sanchez have been upgraded. Matter of fact, let me see if I can pull this stuff up. Marion County prosecutor Ryan Mears filed more serious charges against former NFL quarterback Mark Sanchez for his involvement in a stabbing incident in downtown Indianapolis early Saturday. Sanchez, while recovering in a hospital on Sunday, was charged with several misdemeanors after details came out accusing him of being the aggressor in the incident. Those misdemeanor criminal charges include battery resulting in injury, public intoxication, and unlawful entry of a motor vehicle for his alleged role in the altercation. But after seeing the extent of the victim's injuries and factoring in the victim's age, prosecutor Ryan Mears has moved to upgrade Sanchez's charges to a level 5 felony battery of causing serious injury. And this is Bailey. Okay, this is Bailey, who is I believe the chief of police, speaking on this matter.
Well, I want to be clear about this. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do for a living. I don't care where you live. If you come into our city, commit violence, we will use all the tools at our disposal to hold you accountable. As we move forward, IMPD will continue to maintain our strong, visible presence in downtown on those high visibility, high traffic weekends and major events to make sure that our community is safe. And I continue to urge our community to respect one another. As the prosecutor said, this did not need to happen. It just did not. We need to recognize our differences, respect those differences, and deal with our conflict without resorting to violence, because it's just not worth it. I appreciate the cooperation of our community and the downtown residents and businesses who continue to support their police department, each other, and work with us to solve our problems.
Also, the man who he viciously assaulted, whose facial injuries are horrific. I was under the impression that, based on the information that was out there earlier, that he might have had like some cuts or abrasions. No, this guy, Mark Sanchez, really screwed this guy's face up, man. Huge gashes all over his face, and this guy is suing Mark Sanchez, and he's suing Fox for hiring this guy. I'm pretty sure that's the lawyer, probably trying to maximize this thing, saying that Sanchez has a history of alcohol use and that he is a high-risk employee and that he should be terminated. And this gets to my final point and my main point. I remember how adamant some people were that Michael Irvin should be terminated by Fox Sports. Not Fox Sports, NFL Network and ESPN at the time, because of him getting into, I wouldn't even call it an altercation. Remember the video that leaked that showed Michael Irvin engaging, interacting with a white woman? And the only thing he did was simply put his hand on her elbow. And everyone told me, and 70 Sports TV and others, that was so inappropriate. You don't touch anybody without their permission. You just don't do that. You don't touch anybody. Keep your hands to yourself. Well, Mark Sanchez, I think all of us would agree, went way beyond the pale when it comes to just not touching somebody. He tried to pulverize somebody, right? And if it wasn't for the fact that this guy had a knife, he may have unalived that dude in a drunken stupor rage, right? Not only that, you attack somebody that's 70 years old, you're that blind, drunk, and out of control that you don't know what you're doing? Like, you attack elderly people? No. Mark Sanchez needs to be fired now, ASAP, today. Fired. And put behind bars. Michael Irvin lost his job for touching somebody's elbow. That made them uncomfortable enough, supposedly, to file a complaint and say that he made me uncomfortable because he touched my shoulder and my elbow. Mark Sanchez, I believe all of us should agree, went way beyond that. So you try to explain to me how he should be able to keep his job. Or maybe you just have the same problems that Dan Dakich have and some of these other people have. And it's not equal actions, equal repercussions. It varies based upon what you see and what you don't want to see. Anyway, that's all I got to say about it.